All right, today we are so blessed to have the legend, Rob Flick, man who is behind everything that we know about eXp. The way eXp is today is because of you. So let's talk about your story. I don't know many people out there know truly Rob Flick's story and how did eXp grew from 700 agents to 90,000 agents we have today.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing how things happen the way it went along. I can tell you, my story is pretty basic, I really think. I lived it day by day, so it didn't seem to be all that exciting most of the time. And I jokingly say, a lot of the stuff I did was not sexy, but the results are very sexy. But the things I do day to day, every day, are not. When I got out of the Navy, I got into real estate. And I started with Coldwell Banker, and I thought I had it made. I was so happy about what was going on and the way I was living. And I mean, here I am in my late 20s, early 30s, and I'm living in an 8,500 square foot house, 5-car garage, 1,000 square foot master bedroom closet, 3 jacuzzis, 5-car garage. I mean, just an unbelievable,
American dream.
Yeah, it was like, wow, I can't believe this is going on. And then I discovered that I had cancer and went into the hospital. And I spent the next 4 or 5 years in and out of hospitals, couldn't work, and lost everything and went bankrupt.
You were 31.
And I was 31, 32 at that time. And I thought my world had fallen apart. Like I didn't do anything wrong, and all of a sudden now I've lost everything. I ended up moving into my parents' house into a 10 by 10 bedroom. I never thought I wouldn't make it through. The doctors had said that it had spread kind of throughout my chest, and that if they were just going to go in and operate, and they weren't going to be able to radiate me. And so they said, we're just going to go in and take as much as we possibly can. Take everything we think you won't need.
Who decides?
That's exciting. Yeah, who decides that?
Who decides what we don't
I have a
need?
few suggestions, but
That's why they put you under.
Yeah. I never had the feeling that I wouldn't make it through, that I wouldn't live. All right, but the doctors were saying maybe 3 to 6 months, whatever. I mean, it was touch and go, I guess, for a while. But I thought I need to develop a financial safety net. I need to develop a passive income or a residual income, and I didn't even know what that was. But I wanted to have money coming in that I had developed, and I didn't care about rich or wealthy. That was never my goal. My goal was to make $100,000 a year passive income so I could live full time. And I had just adopted a little girl at that period of time, and I wanted to have her remember me, so I wanted to create as many memories as were possible. And so I wasn't about making huge amounts of money. I just wanted to make enough money to make it by and to be able to spend time with her. I came across Keller Williams in 1997, and at the time there was a lady named Althea, and she was the #1 profit-sharing earner in Keller Williams. She'd been with the company almost 16 years, but she was making $50,000, half of what I wanted to make. So I actually got on an airplane and flew to Austin, Texas to meet with her, because I'm the one that wants to talk to the best. Don't tell me what's average, don't tell me what most people do. Tell me who's #1, where's the top of the line, and I want to learn from them and see if it's possible. And so I wanted her to explain to me the program and how it worked. And one of the questions I had was, how many people did you personally refer, attract, or recruit, whatever you want to call it, to the company? And we had to look it up, but it turns out that she had personally recruited 12 in 16 years. And it wasn't even one a year.
Yeah.
And I was shocked about that. And at that time, I had asked her why only 12? And what she had told me was, it just never came up. It never was really part of her business plan in the beginning, right? Then when they started realizing that it was going to become something, everything changed. But in the beginning, they didn't know, what would happen or where it would be or if it would really amount to anything. So it wasn't really part of her business plan. And she'd only enrolled, like I said, 12. And so I thought, wow, what if a person actually made it part of their business plan? And so I decided that I was going to leave Realty Executives, the company I was with in Arizona. And I really loved Realty Executives, and I had loved their broker, I loved the office, I loved the parking space. I mean, everything, it was wonderful. It's like I didn't want to leave,
I love parking space.
Yeah, well, in Arizona, it's important. In the summer, it's really hot. I went to Keller Williams at that time, and the idea was, I wasn't the biggest producing real estate agent. I mean, my goal was to get 2 listings a month and every single month. And normally if I had 2 new listings, I'd get a buyer call off the sign. So I'd do 2 or 3 deals a month, 25 or 30 transactions a year. I mean, I was okay agent, but I wasn't, a superstar. And I was very, very happy to have that so I could spend more time with Renee, my daughter. I knew that I had to do 10 listing presentations a month to get 2 listings a month. It turns out that if I did 10 listing appointments, I somehow would get 2 listings. I wasn't the greatest at doing it, but I got it done and I knew my numbers. I knew that if I wanted to get 2, I had to show 10. And so I thought it might be the same thing with agents. I might have to show it to 10 agents to get 2 agents a month to join. And I thought, you know what? They had a vesting period of 3 years. And so I said, okay, so what if I were to enroll 2 agents a month for 3 years, 36 months, 72 agents? That'd be 6 times as many as Althea had done. And of course, she did more as time went on. But then I said, okay, I can be able to do that. And I wanted to be able to retire, to be able to leave after that period of time. And so I started on the 4th of July, 1997. And I remember that. And we opened up an office in Ahwatukee, Arizona. I was showing it to 10 people a month, and by Christmas that time I had personally enrolled 30, and I didn't realize that that was a big deal. I just knew that I had 30. It was better than I expected, and those 30 that I referred, they were not necessarily interested in recruiting, if you will, but they knew people. They wanted to sell houses and more houses, which is normal for real estate agents because that's the only thing they've ever been exposed to is if you want to make more money, you got to sell more houses or more expensive houses. Right? They just didn't realize there was another way that's equal or even better or stronger potentially. And so I was really forced in that passive income residual. I wanted to build something that would be there long after I was not able to. And so those 30 agents through them in those same 6 months referred another 120. So we had about 150 agents, as I recall, in 6 months, which was a very unique thing having done at that time. And so I got flown all over the United States and to talk to other franchisees and other team leaders and people there to talk to them about how I went about recruiting and why I could do so many, so quickly. And before you know it, it just started expanding and getting bigger. So I got things going in Arizona and Utah, Nevada, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Alaska, Northern California. I just followed who do you know? You know someone here, you know someone there, you know someone there. And before you knew it, my profit sharing was over, a couple $1,000s a month. And then it got to $5,000 a month and 10 and 15 and 20 and sometimes 25 or 30 in the summer when it was, had some really big months. And all of a sudden I'm making a few $100,000s a year. Man, oh man, I'm pretty excited that's coming passively, right? I retired and I've been getting those checks for 20 years.
That's unreal.
It's really kind of incredible. And about 9 years ago, and we traveled and just had a really great time. And of course I had no debt. I'd been through a bankruptcy, so I didn't have any debt. And I wouldn't recommend going through that, but that sure motivated me. I was motivated by fear. If this cancer came back, I wanted to get this thing done now. About 8 or 9 years ago, a good friend of mine, Gene, I heard that he had sold his franchises, sold his region, and he retired. And I thought, wow, this is really great. We're going to get to travel. We're going to play golf. We're going to have some good fun together, because we had done that. And I knew him from before, and he was a big deal. And so I couldn't believe that he'd left Keller. And so I tracked him down, found him. He confirmed that, yeah, he had left Keller, but he was working on this new project called eXp and another real estate thing. And he said, you'd be really good at it. And I said, Gene, I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm a pretty hard no. I'm not interested really because I travel, I don't need it. I make a few $100,000. I'm just, I'm happy.
And you've been retired for how many years then?
For almost 18, I think. 15 or 18 years, long time. So he finally, I said, what's in it for me, really, truly? Why would I want to, even take a look at this? And he said, if you do the same thing at eXp as you did at Keller, he said, instead of, a few $100,000s a year, you'd make $5 to $10 million a year at eXp. And I thought, there is no way.
Yeah.
That kind of, I'd looked at hundreds of P&Ls of different offices and there just wasn't that much money in there. And he said, there's new technology that has never been before and they're virtual. And I didn't really understand that was. And he said, everything that we have is in the cloud. And to tell you my technology level, I said, well, what happens to our cloud when it rains? oh my God, you know, because it was storming that night. And I'm saying, what if it rains? What happens to our cloud then? And he just laughed at me how dumb that I was, because I didn't understand, you know, what
Yeah,
that
you
kind
were
of cloud.
retired.
I was not,
You
pretty
had
funny.
a good excuse.
Yeah, pretty funny. Anyway, so then he shared the presentation with me, did it on his famed napkin, you know,
Napkin presentation,
and that
yeah.
was really great. And I remember it being literally windy and stormy rain. We went out onto his porch and he's writing on these napkins and this flying away. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to put them in order and get them, you know, remember all the stuff he was talking about. But he really did. He really did convince me that this is really going to go. And I realized that I could not only get free, but I could help some of my friends then get free. I realized this is really incredible. And when I saw it, I told him, Gene, I said, you know what? I said, this is one of the best ideas I've ever seen, if they really follow through with everything. I said, this really is going to change it. And whether I do it or not, someone's going to, so it might as well be me. So I came out of retirement, and of course eXp's got a 3-year vesting period as well. So I went to my wife and I said, you know what, I'm really interested in what Gene has to say. I think I might be interested in doing this. And she said, yeah, I sort of figured it might end up that way. What does that mean for us? And I said, well, Gene says, and I said a lot of Gene says that year, like Gene says we should do this. Gene says we should go here. Gene says we need to be this place. Gene says enough. So anyway, I said, Gene said if I do the same thing here at eXp as we did previously, instead of a few $100,000, it would be $5 to $10 million a year. And she took a nanosecond and said, oh, you should do it. Yes, you should.
And
you
the rest
should.
is history.
Yeah, the rest is really history. So what happened was in 2016, we joined eXp, and I remember that eXp had started in 2009, and in 2016 they had 500 or 600 or 700 agents, less than 1,000 agents then in 7 years. And I show up and I develop systems and training, and I said, what if we were to make it part of your business plan, so that, you know, your business plan is to get 1 or 2 agents a month. And my big goal was to get 2 agents a month, just to have a goal, something to shoot for. And very rarely did I ever get it. I would end up, you know, going the year, and my first year I enrolled 22 agents, and I missed my goal. I only got 22 out of 24, but those agents referred others, who referred others, referred others. By the end of that year, I had actually 700 agents, more agents in a year's time than they previously had come aboard in 7 years. So we were creating a lot of momentum and a lot of excitement, and people going, whoa, what could happen? And the next year, that 700 referred others to the tune of 3,000. And then the next year after that, it was 7,000. Then after that, it was 10,000 agents. And eventually it was tens of thousands of agents. And it was just, you know, beyond where I ever thought. I had thought, you know, $100,000 a year was very, very doable, and then it became $100,000 a month, and then it became 6 figures a week, and it was like, oh my God, this is like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I jokingly say, we're adjusting, we'll be fine. However, you know, it was not what I expected, and I didn't know that it would get that big, but I didn't realize how really, really big the real estate industry was. I came aboard because my goal was to make an extra $500,000 a year, and I said, if I could make $500 to $1,000 per agent per month, per agent per year in revenue share, because we have, you know, eXp is virtual, so we don't have that overhead of the brick and mortar, just like, you know, like what Netflix did to Blockbuster and what Amazon's doing to kind of everybody.
Yeah.
And we're doing the very same thing. You know, we can pivot really quickly. We save a tremendous millions and millions of dollars in overhead that we don't have. And what they've set up is that 50% of the money that comes in from the agents goes out in the revenue share program. I mean, so there's a huge amount of money available. And I thought, you know, I could probably, if I could make $500,000 a year, and what my experience, this was my experience was, if I could make $500 to $1,000 per agent, let's say $1,000 an agent in rev share, right? Because if an agent sells 5 or 6 houses, generally depending on the market they're in, you're going to make about $1,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, plus or minus, depending on the sales volume of those houses, in revenue share, right? And I found out, and we pay 7 generations, well, just like, you know, Keller did. And so I found out if you get 25 agents on your first tier, if you do it relatively quickly, and quickly is, let's say, within a year's time, or not like, you know, in 20 years, but in, because then it's, you know, that's not going to be the same thing. You've got to create some momentum. So 25, I found, on your first tier, they'll refer 50.
Yeah.
You know, and on your second tier, and those people on your second tier with 50, they'll refer 100, and those 100 will refer 200, and those 200 so on, so and so, you know, like that. And I said, I figured it would take me 3 years to get to 500 agents. And if I could get to 500 agents that way, by helping those and help see who they knew and who they knew and who they knew, and we got some decent, nice producing agents, you know, it could get pretty significant. And I figured you could do it in 3 years. So I said, okay, that's my goal. And my goal was to enroll 2 agents a month and to work forward. Well, it turned out in that first year, you know, I hit it quicker. I got over 700 agents, got 700 agents in the first year, which was, you know, I had no idea it was going to go that fast, and it just continues to grow. And now we're up to somewhere in the neighborhood of 90,000 agents, you know, plus or minus of where we are. We operate in all 50 states. We are in 25 or 26 countries worldwide. And people say, is there more room to grow? There's a ton of room to grow. I'm told that there's about 3 million real estate agents in the United States alone, 3 million, right? And worldwide, I understand there's something like 20 million real estate agents worldwide. And so if we have, you know, a stated goal now company-wide to have 1 million real estate agents, man, out of 20 million, that's not as 5%. I mean, that's very doable.
Yeah.
And I think that will really happen. And so that's a really, really big deal. And what's exciting about that is that money, that revenue share money, is willable and transferable to your children, you know, to your heirs, which is a very big deal.
That's where it all started.
It's huge, yeah. And so you've got the ability. When people say, why would you join eXp? Couple of reasons. Number one, first of all, you got the opportunity to sell more houses than anywhere else. I'm told that Inman News has said that for the last several years, eXp has sold and closed more residential real estate property than any other company in the United States. That's a huge thing. eXp is a selling company. Agents come to eXp to sell houses and to sell more houses. Because we're publicly traded, we want every agent to be an owner, so there's multiple ways for agents to earn stock, and you do that by selling houses. You know, when you sell your first house each year, you earn stock. When you cap, and we have a $16,000 cap, 80-20 split until you pay 16, then you go to 100% for the rest of the year, small transaction fee after that, but you're at 100%, and you get more stock when you cap. When you refer an agent and they close their first deal, you're given more stock. I mean, there's multiple ways. You can even utilize, I call this a retirement program. It's not officially that, but it seems to me it acts like it. And that is, you know, you can utilize 5% of your gross commissions, right, on a monthly basis to buy the stock at a discount. That's an automatic win-win, and you hardly even feel, especially those agents that are with companies that charge royalties or residuals, you know, over and above. So they say, well, I'm a 90-10. Yeah, but you have, what about franchise fee? Oh, we have an 8% franchise fee. So you're really 80-20 or 70-30, and yeah. And does that ever cap? No, that just keeps on going. We play, you know, huge amounts, the more you pay. With eXp, you're earning stock. We even have a program that if you sell enough houses, you cap, right? And you pay your $16,000. You close 20 more transactions in the same year, you can qualify for what's called an icon, right? And an icon agent is going to get that $16,000 that they paid in their cap. They're going to get that back in company stock, right? And that's a huge thing. And I never really knew and understood the value of stock or what would be. I just was really interested in that passive cash flow safety net program, you know, through revenue share. But the fact you can build a significant stock portfolio. I mean, one of the things that we did, my wife and I, we decided we wanted to be able to give back. And there was a time when our stock portfolio at eXp exceeded $1 million. Yeah. So we decided we would donate $1 million to my high school. I went to Coronado High School in Scottsdale. We donated literally $1 million for scholarships for the bottom 20% of the class to go to trade schools.
That's awesome.
Right? And it's like, you know, there's hundreds of kids now that are going to be able to go and earn a trade and earn good money, and they can earn 6 figures in some of these trades. You know, welders make a good amount of money. You know, there's a lot of different people that are not necessarily college material, right? Exactly. That is going to do something, but they need a skill, and they're going to need this for the rest of their life. So to be able to give back, that's a really big deal. We're very happy to do that. Yeah. One of the things I'm really, really proud about is that I've been able to help hundreds and hundreds, probably several thousand agents to be able to make a residual or a passive income that covers their bills or pays most of their bills, many times more than their bills. Some of them, tens of thousands, some of them hundreds of thousands, a few of them even 7 figures a year in rev share. And that's unheard of, but it's exciting to know that I have had the ability to be able to help and support other agents such as yourself, that are very well known, that do way more than I've ever done, to be able to help you, give you the idea that you can literally make as much money residually and through the stock as you can selling houses. You can double your income. It's possible, it's potential, but it's going to take persistence. It's going to take work. It doesn't happen overnight. You're going to have to be pleasant, and you've got to be persistent and consistent. And I say pleasant most of the time,
Yeah.
And although sometimes I'm not overly pleasant, but I try to be,
There's a lot of negative people.
And to be able to have actually control of time and money, not just, there's a lot of ways to make money. There's no question to make a lot of money, right? But most people have to give up their life for that. You're trading your hours for dollars, especially top real estate agents. The average agent doesn't work 20 or 30 or 40 hours a week. They work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. A lot of time. You're talking to a lot of real estate agents out there. And so you might make a really good income, but you're giving up your life for that. And what I found is residual income and passive income and generational wealth that can be done gives you control not just of money, but also time. And if you've got control of both time and money, man, oh man, you have hit the lottery, you've hit the jackpot. It's just like incredible to be able to do that. And what's exciting to know is that every single agent has the opportunity to create the same thing that I did. And I believe that's possible. I know there's some agents that are getting close. I can't wait till there's a bunch of agents that pass me, really, truly. And because then I can be able, some people say, well, you got started early, it's too late. I go, you know what? There are people that have come after me that are making more, so don't use that as an excuse, I look forward to doing that. And there are people that are sharper, that work harder, that are smarter, better looking, younger, have more energy, everything than me, coming along that have that ability that will do that. They just need to have belief in self. They've got to have belief in the system and belief in who they're working with. And that's real important. When you find yourself a mentor, find yourself what you want to do, that's a really big deal. And eXp also has lead generation software that is just like unbelievable, that it pays for you to be able to utilize so that you can sell more houses, because we're all about selling more houses, right? Find yourself a mentor in the house selling biz side, find yourself a mentor in the revenue sharing side, find yourself a mentor in the stock acquisition side, and then it doesn't hurt to have a few rentals. That's not a bad idea either, to build passive income. Don't limit yourself to just one. See how many different income streams you can create. Can you create 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different income streams? I think it's possible, and very, very doable. And I'm excited to be part of this. I don't know where we're going to be going in the future. We also have a healthcare program available for agents, and there are some agents that join us just for the healthcare program, because NAR says that there's like a third of all agents that are operating today don't have any kind of health insurance or health care.
It gets pricey.
Yeah, it's expensive, and I'm told that our program saves upwards of the average families upwards of $10,000 or $15,000, $16,000 a year annually, out-of-pocket cost. That's as much as it costs you to be part of eXp. It's like getting your health program free. Yeah. It's really pretty unbelievable. So I'm excited to be part of it. I'm excited to have a hand in helping it go and grow, and I'm excited to see where it is going to be this next 10 years. I just celebrated, my wife and I just celebrated 9 years within eXp. It went by like that. Who knew? I had no idea.
Time flies by when you're having fun.
It really does. And I've gotten to meet some outstanding people, like yourself and others that have significantly more talent than me. One of the things that I've always been my true talent is getting out of the way of talent. And let them go and do their thing, putting people together, making things happen, earning a percentage of what other people will do. I'd rather earn a percentage of 100 or 1,000 or 20,000 people than 100% of what any one person could ever do.
We were joking about that yesterday. We were comparing my little production of 42 million with your 20 billion.
I know. Last year, our team, just in the 7 levels, so I'm told, closed almost 40,000 transactions last year.
Which is humanly impossible for one single agent.
I know,
or
isn't
even
it exciting?
mega team.
Yeah. So,
It's
I'm
leverage.
pretty proud of that, and it is leverage, and it just seems to keep getting bigger and better all the time. And what's exciting is to hear your story and to hear the next agent's story. Every agent has a story that needs to be told. Every agent has something that they've had to overcome. And your story is going to motivate other people, and their story is going to motivate other people. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy if you will just be consistent, persistent, pleasant, and give people a shot. And just so not everyone's going to jump in right away.
Yeah.
There's people that are skeptical just because, but it's okay. When I first joined, it was all theoretical. Now it's not. It's all fact. It's all happened. It's going. You can't deny it. I'm living it. Others are living it.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see that happens when an agent's belief goes through the roof in the system that is proven. I mean, we're debt-free. We've not had to borrow money short-term or long-term. That's huge. When there's a lot of real estate companies out there that are losing money, that are closing, and we're making, tremendous income from. I mean, the company is profitable. That's exciting for what's going on too. You really should check the P&L. You check the financials of the company you're working for, because there are people that have told me that part of the reason why they're coming to eXp is because their company closed.
Yeah.
They show up one day for what they thought was going to be, the weekly business meeting, and they're told we're closing the doors in a week.
Yep, or we're merging with somebody else.
Or we're merging with somebody else. Yeah, it's really interesting to see what's happened, and I'm looking forward to the next 5-10 years.
I want you to talk about your systems, because you did put together a system for everybody who ever wants to tap into it called Wealth Chart.
Yes. Yeah, I did, and it's called the Wealth Chart. And in fact, you can go to YouTube and you can search Rob Flick Wealth Chart Training, and it will show up. It's a 24-minute video, and it shows how to go from $0 to $500,000 a year in revenue share in 3 years or less, with leveraging 4 hours a week. And I figured it would take about 3 years, like I said, to get to $500,000. I was able to do that significantly quicker. So I created this wealth chart because I had an agent that I was trying to explain the system, and I just couldn't get him to understand how it worked. And so I remember spending most of the night trying to do something visually, so it could be visually exactly what would happen, how the thing worked. And so when I put it together, he looked at it and instantly says, I get it. That's really something. So this wealth chart that I created for that, it tracks your success, it tracks your goals, it shows you how to follow up, it tells you who to follow up with, how often to follow up, what to do, scripts, dialogues, all the information on being able to do that. And there's other people now that have put things out that are, using their own spin and do whatever. But I've always tried to do everything that's duplicatable. I didn't want to have to do anything that is not duplicatable. Meaning, I want every single agent, whether they sold one house or 1,000 houses, to be able to do what I did. And I had kind of a 3-foot rule. When anyone came within 3 feet of me, I would put my hand out and say, hi, I'm Rob. I'm new to the area. Have you been here a long time? What is it you do? And I just get a series of questions that I would ask them and get into a dialogue. I used to just look for real estate agents, and that was a mistake, because not everyone's a real estate agent. And I had a fellow, one of the agents that I had personally enrolled, he said, why don't you ask everybody if they know a real estate agent? I go, whoa.
That's brilliant.
Goodness, yeah, I said, that's incredible. And this guy had never sold a house, but he came up with the idea. He said, why don't you ask them if they know a real estate agent? And what I found out was that the more successful a person is, the more successful a real estate agent is that they know. The really super successful people, they know a doctor, they know a lawyer, they know an accountant, they know a real estate agent, they know a landscaper, and they know a cleaning company. And the more successful they are, the better those all are. So I thought, well, I'm going to really try to find the successful ones and ask them, because then they'll refer me as a successful realtor. I didn't want to talk to homeless people, because they would refer to me a homeless realtor, right? So I didn't want that. And so I would say to them, wow, you look pretty successful. What is it you do? Do you consider yourself a success? And I go, yeah. I said, what I'm looking for is successful real estate agents. And I found successful people know successful real estate agents. And I'm looking to expand my real estate world here. Who do you know that I could be able to talk to? That's really got it going on. And it was like a miracle. Everybody who was really successful knew the answer, would talk to them and refer them to me, and they were happy to do it.